House Speaker Paul Ryan said Republicans were able to find, quote, a lot of consensus Thursday during a meeting on immigration. But Congressman Peter King of New York said nothing was hammered out. House moderates are threatening to push ahead with their discharge petition to force a vote on a series of immigration bills on the floor. We've been talking a lot about immigration issues recently. In an interview with conservative radio host Hugh Hewitt earlier this week, Attorney General Jeff Sessions argued it was necessary to separate children from parents when detained at the border. The American Civil Liberties Union is suing the Trump administration over forced separations of asylum-seeking families. Lee Gelernt is the deputy director for the American Civil Liberties Union Immigrants Rights Project, and he joins me now. Welcome, Lee.
Thank you for having me.
So President Trump tweeted earlier this week, quote, separating families at the border is the fault of bad legislation passed by the Democrats. Is there a law, Lee, requiring families to be separated at the border?
No, absolutely not. The judge made it clear in our case that there's not a law that requires it. There is absolutely no law. And this is solely a Trump administration policy.
Well, Attorney General Jeff Sessions, as you know, made the argument that every time someone is prosecuted in America, they are separated from their children.
Right.
Is that a comparable situation to families seeking asylum?
No, here's what he's not saying. When you're prosecuted for a crime in America and you go to jail, it's true you're separated from your kid. But here's the difference. When you walk out of jail, you get your kid back. These families are not getting their kids back. What they're being prosecuted for is a misdemeanor of illegal entry. They go to jail for a couple of days because it's a misdemeanor. They come out, they're applying for asylum, they don't get their kids back. One of the named plaintiffs in our case went to jail for a few days for illegal entry. She didn't get her kid back for 8 months. That's what's happening. That's the difference. That's what the administration is not telling people.
Is this an untested area of the law? Have we seen this before even President Trump took office?
Right. So there's 2 points there. It's unprecedented that it's happening. No administration prior to this has done this. What we don't believe is novel are the legal principles. It has been clear for centuries that you may not take a child away from a parent unless the parent presents a danger to the child. These parents are not presenting a danger to their child. The administration has been fairly forthcoming prior to this lawsuit that they're doing it to deter other families from seeking asylum here. That is absolutely wrong, and it's inhumane.
Well, Senator Dianne Feinstein said that she's working on legislation to stop the separation of families. What would you like to see that legislation look like?
What I'd like that legislation to do is say no more separating parents and children unless there's clear and specific evidence showing that the parent is a danger. And we don't have that here. Of course, if the parent is a danger to the child can always be taken away. That's basic child welfare law. But what we'd like to see is put an end to them just taking children away for the sake of some immigration policy.
And again, just to be clear, when the president says that separating families at the border is the fault of bad legislation passed by the Democrats, is there any part of that statement at all that has any basis in fact? Is there legislation that, in fact, one can point to?
No.
Not at all.
I'm sorry to interrupt you,
no,
but
that's right.
Absolutely not. That is, the government made that argument in court. It is simply wrong. There's no and think about it like this. Their legislation would have been passed years ago, but no prior administration has separated parents and children. So if there really was legislation like that, you would have seen prior administrations separating parents and children. No prior administration has done it. And the only other point that I think is critical for your viewers to know is that even people who present themselves at a port of entry legally, don't cross, aren't prosecuted, are still having their children taken away. Like the lead plaintiff in our case, a Congolese mom, presented herself legally at a port of entry, said, I'd like to apply for asylum, had her young child, then 6, ripped away from her for 4 months. Another mother presented herself at a port of entry, just what the Attorney General is saying to do. Her 18-month-old was separated for 2 months.
So you would expect protracted legal battles ahead on this issue?
Well, we're hoping to get a nationwide injunction from this district court judge. Hopefully it'll be soon. Hopefully we'll get it. And hopefully the administration will say, we won't appeal. This is too horrific, and we've seen the outrage on both the left and the right, and we won't appeal. If not, we're in it for the long haul.
Continue to watch this. Lee Gelernt. Thank you so much, Lee.
Thank you.